around, or neither. I'm that scary trans person to need to warn you about. However, if it'll work, where's the mouth? There it is. I'm actually a demi-boy. A demi-boy is a break of transgender in the sense that I identify mostly as male, but partially as another gender. Most tend to go with agender or no gender at all, basically. But mine happens to be female. I have days where I do feel more feminine. Now, I had to deal with a lot of stuff growing up. I grew up in a very rich, very Christian, very Republican home, which means obviously my parents are anti-trans and anti-LGBT everything. I ended up going to anti-LGBT rallies as a kid. I got told different things, that if I had same-sex attraction, I was going to hell. If I identified not with my sex, that something bad was going to happen to me. But it ended up growing up where my brother and I both ended up as part of this community. My brother is gay and married and has to hide it from every member of my family. And obviously I ended up as trans and pan. Now, I chose to talk about this not only because I have extreme personal experience with how it feels to be attacked being LGBT, but also because it's a taboo and it doesn't get talked about quite as much as it should be, and when it is talked about, it's in very vague terms, even though mine are as well kind of vague, but I use stronger evidence than a lot of the people that you see online, which I guess is good, but it's also considered a taboo. You're not supposed to talk about these things because, quote, Republicans don't like it. My old workplace at first had an issue with me going by Jared and going by he, him pronouns because it upset the conservative customers. Not sure that's how I'm supposed to be treated, but okay. Now, this is the suicide rate for sexual minorities. Sexual minorities are defined as somebody who could be bisexual, pansexual, gay, lesbian, just not straight. It's 3 times more likely to, those kids are 3 times as likely to kill themselves. And as quoted by Dr. Esther D. Giacomo, a psychiatric doctor who works in the surgery and interdisciplinary medicine department at the University of Milano Bicocca, I don't know how to say it, it's Italian. Our findings suggest that youths with non-heterosexual identity have a significantly higher risk of life-threatening behavior compared with their heterosexual peers, which means sexual minorities are more likely to either commit risk things such as doing drugs or alcohol or abusing those things, or suicide. And according to that same study, trans kids are 6 times as likely to commit suicide. And to me, that's a shocking number, because I thought that number would be a lot lower. I thought maybe it'd be twice as likely for sexual minorities, and then maybe 3 times for trans kids. I was not expecting a 6 times number. And some people might wonder, well, why are these numbers so high? Certainly it can't just be because they weren't born in the right bodies or because they have a different sexual attraction. And it's because of people like this. The Westboro Baptist Church. I changed this word, I'm sure you all know what it is, it's a 3-letter word. These people go around the country, the entire country, even though they're just a small group, and say things like, thank God for 9/11, nobody likes gay marriage, God doesn't approve of it, you're gonna go to hell, repent or perish. They say these things trying to hurt people, and it's not hard to see why a young child who sees these things might grow up believing that if they are attracted to their same sex, something's gonna be wrong with them, and that they're not gonna be in paradise with the rest of their family. This is a group of people, and it's hard to believe that a single person could act this way. But there is. This is Steven Anderson. Some of you might know who he is, others of you might not. He is most infamously known for his speech or sermon for his church, where he said, as long as I'm the pastor here, no homosexual will be a member of this congregation. He also prays for people to die. He believes that same-sex attraction should get the death penalty, and he believes that pedophiles and homosexuals will have sex with anything, including dogs, cats, cars, homes, ants, lions. I don't know where he draws the line at. But clearly this is not a nice person, and if you go to their website, the church he works at, which is, I believe it's the Faithful Baptist, It's in Arizona, I know that much. And go through his audio sermons and look up homosexual. He has a speech that's an hour long where he rants about the homosexual agenda, even though that's not even a thing. It got removed from YouTube for hate speech, but you can still find the original MP3 on the website. Now, another reason why this might be happening to kids, because a lot of people don't have interactions with the Westboro Baptist Church. Unaccepting parents are a big deal. I have extreme personal experience with this one, especially considering I was forced to go to anti-LGBT rallies with my family and with my parents, and to this day my parents either don't accept me or only accept me when it suits them. These are some quotes from my family. This one is from my mom. I was really nervous about retelling my job that I'm trans, and I wanted to be Jared, and I wanted to be he, him, and I didn't want to continue to go by my legal name, which is now my dead name, of course. She said this to me, which didn't help my nerves. It made me feel worse, and it made me feel like I was gonna get fired, and it just made me feel like the same way I felt when I realized I was trans, worthless and empty. However, when I did tell them, they changed my name in the system, changed my pronouns, and had manager meetings and meetings individually with specific crew members that didn't seem to be following the new protocol on my pronouns and the name they should use. And whenever a customer had an issue, they ended up getting kicked out of the store, which I appreciated. This one is from my aunt. I changed a couple of words because I'm not going to put slurs in this because they are very offensive slurs. Little did my aunt know when I was sitting beside her that her nephew was sitting beside her, not her niece. And I felt actual fear when she said this. She's not a nice person, and she does like to threaten people, and she has threatened people to their face. And I ended up being forced to come out as pan right in front of her when I got angry at her for screaming at a gay couple that they were both going to hell for their choices.
What?
Thank you, dear sibling. This is from my older brother, who I already said is gay. I don't know where he got this idea. We fall in the same category. But I guess next time I can tell him being gay is a mental illness too, if he wants to act this way to me. But ultimately, I'm luckier than a lot of peers that are LGBT. I survived. I look in the mirror now and I see somebody that I can love and somebody that other people love, with the help of my family that's not my family. I have an online family, and they all love me for who I am, and that's all I could really ever ask for at this point. This definitely is an issue, as I'm sure all of you can see. But now what? Now what do we do? We can't just leave it at, oh, there's an issue. We have to find a way to solve this. And this is my proposal. This is the current definition of hate speech. It's very vague, and a lot of these terms can be defined how you might want to define them. A group of people could be defined as anything. Girls, boys, people with blonde hair, people with brown eyes. It doesn't matter. You can just define it however you want. And to me, these are just vague. So my new definition that I propose for hate speech is speech that is used to harm or offend, meant to inflict feelings of guilt or self-hatred in regards to sexuality, sex, gender identity, race, or religion, and anything else that might seem necessary to be included in this. Further, we need to amend this First Amendment. We need to change it to exclude hate speech from its protection. In the U.S. Supreme Court case of Snyder versus Phelps, which happened in 2011, it was ruled that the signs, like the ones the Westboro Baptist Church hold up, are allowed and are protected under the First Amendment, despite leading some people to kill themselves or potentially homicidal thoughts in others. Well, I was supposed to change the slide ages ago. We're not going to worry about it. And in Idaho, which is a very traditionally red state, as I'm sure all of you know at this point, we have a lobbying group called Add the Words, and I know it's been brought up a bunch. But it's a group that is meant to add the words that protect LGBT people from discrimination in our Equal Rights Protection Act. Now, these are huge steps, but they're not quite there yet. We're getting to the point where this country and this state accept everybody, but we're still very far behind. But hopefully if we were to make the changes, such as changing the First Amendment to exclude hate speech, as well as changing the definition of hate speech to make it more defined so people can't use it and abuse it, this place will become somewhere where everyone can be happy. Thank you. I have trans suspenders on my leg.
I love that.
Dan, sorry. Madam Ashton.
Yes.
I said,
I tried to stay out of the way before.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.